How's it going, everybody? Doing a request here today for my favorite beer, drinking some beer, favorite beer, and my top 5 PlayStation 5 games. I was like, oh, I could do this with gum, and then I was like, wait, if I'm drinking this beer here, it's a 24 ounce. I'll show you what it is in a second. I'm like, I'm not too keen on beer and gum, so this will be a non-gum chewing vid. So I know I don't do enough of them, so this is kind of a good thing, right? I only have 4 video games in the thumbnail because the other one is a downloadable one, and I could not find the slip for it that I have. If you know what it is, I've talked about it already, but you would know that game. I'm like, I know I have it somewhere, but I don't know where it is. But anyway, the beer I have is Yingling. Got 24 ounce here, so I'll do the trick. It's hard to say my favorite because I've thought about beer in the past. I'm not a massive, I don't drink beer a ton. I don't drink a ton in general, but it's beer. A lot of beer to me is just not great, right? I've never been a huge fan of the taste of beer, but there are some I like. And Yingling is a top one. I don't know if it's absolutely my favorite, but I do like it quite a bit. And Samuel Adams is another one. Leinenkugel's Summer Shandy is another one. But this worked out because I had these 24 ounce ones. So I was like, well, it's perfect for video. And I do like it enough that it is one of my favorites. But top beer is tough. Like a lot of times I would just say Samuel Adams, but I don't know. I kind of like Yingling. So I'll drink some of this and I'll just, go into the games while I'm drinking. Like I said, 24 ounces perfect for this. Instead of having 2 cans kind of in the way, it's one perfectly boomed up. Alright, so we'll start off with number 5. I have not played a ton of PS5 games, but, I've completed the 5 here. I also completed, and I played enough of some of the other ones to know they wouldn't be on the list. Well, they wouldn't be, I should say they wouldn't be on the top 5. Not that they're bad games, but they just wouldn't be on the top 5. Ratchet and Clank's the one where if I had played the full game, I've not yet, it could possibly have been in the top 5. It's an enjoyable game. Anyway, for number 5, this might be the only kind of strange game or unexpected game from the list. Syberia: The World Before. I'm into point-and-click games, adventure games like this. The tapping is incredible. That's why I couldn't use this as a PS5. I want to do the bracket thing with the tapping on the game cases. And I'm like, well, I can't use this because it's not a traditional game case. It's tapping on the kind of book type thing. But it sounds incredible. This is a cool game. You're using Kate Walker, as always here, but you're also using Dana Rose. In the past, and you're following Kate's adventures from the 3rd game. She ends up getting, spoilers here, arrested at the end of the 3rd game, and you do start this one off in prison. Some spoilers here. You have to get out of the prison. You figure a way out. You're doing something in like the mines, and you find a bust through a wall. There's stuff here, and it's a motorcycle. Your friend that you're with, I don't know if it's her girlfriend or who it is. And she obviously cares about her, but I don't know, like, in terms of the story or whatever, like, if it's her girlfriend or it's just someone she deeply cares for. Well, either way, girlfriend or not, she deeply cares for. But she dies, and then she makes it out, and she ends up in, I forget where. Does it say? But if you know Syberia, it plays on, like, real-world events that happened, but, like, the groups have different names, you know what I'm saying? So it's like World War II stuff. They're not called the Nazis, but that's who the bad guys were back then. Like, that's who, but I forget what they call them in this. And then some of the countries are not, like, actual countries, but then, like, America's there, and there's other places that are actually there, but other places are fake and made up. So it's a weird blend of actual places and things, but they're just called different names. I don't know why, but because when you play as Dana Rose in the past, you're going through the war and stuff, and they're coming for her and her family, and you know, you got to do stuff as her, and then you flip back to Kate Walker, because Kate Walker's trying to figure out who this person is. She gets a little tidbit, I think, when she's in prison and they find this area. I'm going to forget stuff from these games. But it's a classic point-and-click game. Looks really nice. Like I said, I went back and played 3 after this one because I had 3 on the Xbox One, but I never played it. I got to play this one now, and it was a cool game, and it didn't look like shit, but compared to, like, I was like, okay, there's the jump you're waiting for. Because this game looks leaps and bounds better than that one. Character models are fantastic in this. You know, the environments you're in look really nice. And, you know, you're finding things that you got to do. And the cool little thing in this one is when you play in the past, sometimes you flip to the past and you see you're in the same area as Kate Walker in the future or the present. And then you see what Dana did, or Donna, I think it's Donna actually, in the past. And then you have to then do it as Kate Walker. Oh, that's the code, or this is the button she hit, and then you do it. So it's a kind of a cool little thing that way, a little puzzly, obviously, as well as just finding stuff and figuring out where to use what. It's a cool game. It's not too short actually. I hope there's another one, because the ending, she's trying to, I don't want to spoil all, but she's like trying to finally find who she's gonna find, and then it kind of just ends. Like, oh, we know where they are. You can find them, and it ends. You do use a third character too. It's Donna, or Dana, her love interest. You use him briefly as well. A cool game though. The story's nice. It's a nice little story. And it's like I said, it's playing off of real world armies and places, but they're not calling them such. At least some of them they're not, and I don't know why they do that. But it's a cool game. What's his name pops up again, and he's in the armadillo form. What's his name? The automaton. What's his name? Oscar. And she has his heart, and she's able to get it into not a regular thing that he was in originally. I forget what they call it. But I don't know if they call those automatons, but they're all automatons, but they have different names for like each thing. But this one's an armadillo he gets into, and he's like, oh, it's all weird at first. I think does she eventually get him back into a bigger body? Yes, she does. I think get him into a bigger body at some point. I can't remember for sure though. Really fun game though. It was cool. Nice little story. It was cool going back and forth and stuff, and you wanted to see it through to the end. That's number 5. Number 4, A Plague Tale. Requiem. I hate that word. I struggle with that word. Really good game. This game, shit, man. And, Final Fantasy probably takes the nod over it now, Rebirth. But this game looks incredible. Like, holy shit. You're Hugo, and, do they have their names on the back? God damn it. The brother is Hugo. Amicia is a sister. You're using them again. It takes place, I don't know how many years after the Innocence. But you're hanging out, you're meeting, Lucas is there too. I think his name's Lucas, your mother as well. And in the beginning, you meet these people, of course, are doing something bad, and then you escape them, and then all of a sudden the plague is the rats are following again. And everywhere they go, shit starts happening. You get backstory of, they're trying to do with Hugo. They're trying to, like, cure him or calm him. And he's like, there's, like, this cult thing, I guess, that you get into. That he has to do this, Hugo, and that's what he's made for. I forget what it's called, but you go all over the place. Like I said, it looks incredible. Like I said, they were high, because it's a stealth game, right? You get weapons as Amicia. You use Hugo, and he can control the rats at points. But you usually mostly using Amicia. You might use Lucas too at a point. I can't remember. I think his name's Lucas. But she has her slingshot, and you get different ones. You could use some ones that will put out a soldier's torch, and then rats will jump them. You can hit one that will kind of light them on fire. There's different ones you get, and the regular rock. And then you can distract them as well and hide. And you're hiding under carts. You're hiding. That's what I was doing. I was hiding under a cart once, and I'm looking at the characters' like hair, and I'm like, holy crap, it's really good. The face models too are great, and the environments are fantastic in this game too. Big mountains off in the distance in some parts. But every time you think it's going to get better, it gets worse. It's a pretty depressing game too, especially the ending. It does not work out well. It's well worth playing. It can be frustrating. It's a little trial and error-y when you go into a new section and you're trying to figure out how to avoid the guards or what you should do. Should you use more violence? Should you be more stealthy? Because you can distract them by throwing a rock and hitting whatever metal object and stuff like that. And there's parts where like Amicia like starts kind of going nuts, and you have to kill a bunch of people, and that happens a couple times throughout the game. And the rat stuff as Hugo is nice. It's different. They're going after people and taking guys out and stuff. You meet other characters as well. I think here you go. There's one of them. There's actually two of them. I forget their names. I don't know if you really can see them. These two. But it was really cool. It was a cool story, depressing story ultimately. But not everything's gonna work out for the best, right? In video games too. But it's really cool. It's like the other one, just longer, looks better. There's some different. I think you get some different sling stuff in this one too. Like I said, there was the saltpeter. I forget the names of the things, but there was one to extinguish stuff, one ignite stuff, ignifier or something like that. They have specific names, and there was a couple other ones too that would do certain stuff. But fantastic game. That's number 4. There is some puzzly stuff. There was like a part with these windmills. You had to figure out stuff and you get like some treasures because you can upgrade stuff too. Like you get if you get a knife, you can get into these kind of upgrade carts, and they got different stuff there that you can use to upgrade Amicia's stuff and whatever. I think Hugo might have some things too. I don't know. So there is some other kind of role-playing elements in there as well. You're upgrading character. All right, number 3 is the game that I have downloaded, Spider-Man 2. Came with the system. I have this. I don't know where the slip is anymore. I did keep it, but I forget where I put it when we moved. Spider-Man 2 is incredible. I've still not played the first one. But this game was awesome. I mean, right out of the gate, you're fighting Sandman in a sick battle in New York City. That's where it takes place. You're in Queens. You're in the city. Manhattan, I should say. They count all the 5 boroughs as New York City, pretty much. Really cool, though. You use Spider-Man and Miles Morales, or Peter Parker, Miles Morales. You can flip back from them almost whenever you want, when you both start to access both. But certain ones you have to do certain missions with certain characters. There's tons of collectibles to find, and both characters have different things they can find. Miles is, I guess, his uncle was in the first game. He was kind of bad, but he's kind of good now. And you find like his caches, his weapon or tech caches. You can find those. I think both characters, or is it just Spider-Man? I think it's both. Can find the little spider bots throughout the city, and that unlocked like a weird cutscene of another dimension with like almost like 8-bit graphics. It was kind of strange. There's some other collectibles as well. I can't remember what the other collectibles were though. But I did all that. I almost got all the. I don't hunt for the platinums. I know a lot of people like doing that, and same thing with the Xbox. You want to get the full achievement points. I don't typically do that. I don't want to drive myself nuts if something's really hard to get, and I just keep getting pissed. I don't want to do it. I appreciate the people that do it, but if it's feasible, I'll go for it. I might only have like 1 or 2 platinums, but. I like to do more than half though, typically. But I did get a good amount in this one. Trophies. And the gameplay is fun. You're getting different upgrades as each character, and you're getting different gadgets, spider gadgets you're doing stuff with, and those can be upgraded to different things. The boss fights are fun. Like I said, there's a part in this game, spoilers, where you use your Venom as... Venom, the symbiote is part of, oh god, Harry Osborn. That's not how it goes in the comics, I'm pretty sure, but it's what's his name, right? Who first attaches to the other reporter, right? I forget his name, Brock or something. But it attaches itself to Spider-Man because Spider-Man gets really hurt. The main bad guy in this one is Kraven the Hunter. He comes over. He's looking for the best. Even the villains, he wants to hunt the best. I think he's dying, and that doing stuff. And you're taking out like parts of like his group, his gang, his army has things set up, and you got to take him out, infiltrate him. So you're doing a lot of stealth. Like you got to take over their little base. So you got to go in there, and there's parts where you're just in there. And literally, there was one or two I did where I literally just grabbed all of them. You just threw out a web line, and you get them all up, and they're all fucking dangling from the thing. Somehow the other people don't see them up there, but you want to take them out stealthily because like reinforcements and shit will come. And the combat's fun. It's fun, it's fun doing stuff. Once you get to the hang of it, you're doing all types of stuff. And like I said, there's gadgets and stuff you could use. The boss fights are pretty cool. Like I said, when you're using Venom as Harry, because eventually it ends up on Harry again, and then you start stomping around and you fight Kraven again. This is later on, so Kraven's a little beaten up because you'd fought him as Peter. I think then you finish him off as Miles. I forget, I forget. They're both there, I think, but I don't know I forget who you use fully. And your Venom and Kraven's like, oh, finally, I found like the ultimate hunt. This is the challenge, and you just kick the shit out of him, and then you end up biting his head off. And I'm like, finally, a video game where I should just dominate the fight, and you do. Like, you just wail. He gets some shots in, but it's just like, boom, boom, you're just kicking shit. I mean, realistically, especially like Spider-Man himself, like the basic thugs, you should just be kicking the shit out of, and you should have some trouble with the bosses, but obviously you have to make the game harder. You don't want to make it simple, but I could appreciate a game where there's a part where it's like, yes, you are overpowered here, you will dominate this fight. The game looks great too. Draw distances are fantastic. Voice acting is really good from all the characters. There's a lot of side quests to do as both characters as well. And some of them are kind of multi-tiered. You do like a couple of different parts of each side quest. There's one where like I think it was Miles and like these people stole all these instruments they were going to use for a jazz museum or something. So you have to go find them. You got to branches off, and you're swinging the swinging mechanics, the web mechanics. You're going all over the city and stuff. You're cruising, flying all over the place. It's fun. It's a fun game. It looks nice. Good side quests, good boss fights, good combat. It's a really good game, honestly. Eventually, or I probably never will, let's be honest. I might play the first one at some point. A lot of people say the first one's better. But I don't know. Anyway. Okay, so the 1 and 2 are still tough for me, but I know which one I'm going to put in 1. It's almost like a 1 and a 1A and a 1B almost. But it is. Sorry, I was just looking at something real quick. This is what I do on my channel. Like, oh wait, I gotta do something real quick. I'm gonna put at number 2, reluctantly, because I love this game, Ghostwire Tokyo. I love this game, and I'm forgetting stuff with this game because this is one of the first. This is the first game I like put a ton of time into. I was playing Ratchet and Clank a bit first, but then I got this and I just played it through. It's like I talked about pretty recently, I think it was the Game Stories one video. But it starts off, you're this guy here, and all of a sudden, like, this shit fog starts coming, and people start disappearing, and then you get, like, the spirit attaches itself to your wrist, and it's like, that's your powers. You find his backstory, too. It's him talking to you, and how he ended up as a spirit and stuff. But everybody disappears in Tokyo, and then, you have a lot of urban legend type enemies everywhere, like the slit-mouthed woman with the giant scissors. You got a bunch of like students that some are missing heads. There's people with umbrellas, and it's just a lot of urban legend type enemies, and they all look really good. The city itself looks nice. But you have to save the soul. Throughout the city, there's like souls of the people that have disappeared. And you guys, sometimes you have to like do these things with your emotions, do little things to free, because like there's pieces of like rebar and whatever it is stuck in the people. You get that out, and then you collect these souls and these little things, I forget what they're called, and then you bring them to the one of the other, because the guy who attached himself to you had a group. They're like ghost hunter type, paranormal, supernatural fighters. And the one guy, I guess, did things with the phone, and you put all these spirits in the phone, and you get, stuff like that, because there's a bunch throughout each section of the city. Tells you what's there and stuff. Combat's fun. You're using like this kind of like stuff, and you have like a water power, a fire power, a wind power, and is there a fourth one? There's other like little things you can use too as attacks, but they're kind of like special things. You gotta buy them, I think. What color you find them, I forget. You're finding objects. There's a ton of stuff to find in this game for these the cat yokai. Right, is it the cat? Yes, the cat yokais. Because you can also get yokais throughout the city. And there's a side thing. They give you stuff like little spirit things or whatever that you can use for like upgrades or whatever it is. Because there's an upgrade system, but I can't remember fully all of it. But you finding yokais got to do things. But there are cat yokai. There are just vendors. They have the dual tails and stuff. And they're like selling you things. And you got to bring them items. And they give you stuff like, oh, I want this. And whatever. They're different than the other kind of malevolent spirits that are attacking you. These are just the yokai doing their thing. Kind of more mischievous. Some decent boss fights. I believe this is the same. And they got shut down, unfortunately. Tango, GameWorks, they're the ones that did the 2 Evil Within games. So the one boss fight is very Evil Within-y. And it's a fun boss fight. But the boss fights are solid. The one was like just reminded me of the Evil Within 2. The other ones weren't, I guess, as like that. But pretty good exploration. The game world's not huge, but it's tight. Like, it's tight, but there's a lot of corners and the alleyways and stuff, and you're finding stuff all over the place. You have to build up your stuff. Like, there's also other things that are kind of like junk or bikes and cars that have like this weird look to them, and you break them up, and then you get it's like your ammo. It's how you kind of refill your ammo for each fire, wind, water. And you could use these attacks on certain enemies. You can string them together or kind of charge them up, boom, boom, boom. Some will use the umbrella to block you. But then you could also hit them. You guys all get a bow at some point too, and you can hit them, and then you get their core. And you got to pull their core out. That will give you ammo too, as well, and experience, I believe, also. There's shrines you find that will upgrade your abilities. They'll make them stronger, or you can do more with them. Those are throughout the city. You got to find them. And there's this side stuff going on as well. Some side stuff as well, which is nice. There's the school one. I think that was a DLC, but it was a deluxe edition, so I guess it was in there. Although this did not include that, so maybe it was just something they added, or was free download. I forget. That was really cool in the school. That was a good. It was funny. You do something. There's you were in health class, and they have like the mannequin body where it's opened up. Here's the heart. Here's the intestines. Whatever. Like, it's looking at you every time when you're not looking at it, it's following you. You turn around and you'll see him. Like, you'll see him in a doorway waiting to keep coming further. It's kind of interesting. It's a little creepy. Really cool game though. Like, I thought it was kind of unique, and I was reading some reviews. Most of the reviews were good, but some were just like, oh, it's not like, it's bland. I'm like, what are you talking about? It's a really cool game. Tokyo looks great. Oh, these gates, the Torii gates, I think they're called. You break those down, you cleanse them, and then it opens up more of the game world, so you're seeing more things to do and stuff like that. Like I said, I'm missing stuff here, but there's 2 of the enemies. There's the student without a head, and then there's the guy with the umbrella. There's some other enemies too. There's flying enemies also. Just a really, it's a well worth playing. It's on the Xbox now. It's not a physical copy on the Xbox. It was a timed exclusive for PlayStation, as was Deathloop, and then Bethesda got bought by Microsoft. Not that mattered, but it's a great game. Play this game; it's awesome. And number 1, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. This is another one of those games. Oh, this had a controller skin in it. I don't use those things. This was still a 2-disc game. This is a 1 installation disc, 1 play disc. That's how big it is. Incredible game. It's obviously the second part of the Final Fantasy remake. This one opens it up. You're in the main world. You're at a Midgard, and is that what it's called, Midgard? And then you're out in the big world, and when you first get, you're just like, yes, this is it. This is the Final Fantasy I remember as a kid. Obviously, it's not turn-based combat anymore. It's more active combat, and it works well. It's fun. You're using Barret, Tifa, Cloud, Aerith, Kate Sith, Yumi. Is that her name? Fuck. I forget her name. She's right here. Yuffie? Is it Yuffie? Her? Is there somebody else? Am I missing somebody? Oh, and no, you don't use Vincent Valentine. He's just there. I don't think you ever use him. You do use Zack briefly. He pops back. I'm not going to go in depth with this game. I think I have in the past, but it's phenomenal. It looks great. The combat's great. There's so much to do, especially because after you do a certain point, a certain chapter, it opens. Like all of a sudden, it's like, oh, we got to get back, and Sid's airship or his plane gets damaged, and all of a sudden it's a boat now, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, we got to get back to the dock or whatever. All of a sudden, like a bunch of side quests open up. I'm like, what? I'm thinking, oh, we're entering end games there. No, we're not. There's a ton more to do. The side stuff's fun. Some of it's hard. There was one that was I don't think I did all of them, because you get proto relics. Is that what it is? Because what's his name? The kid's back from the first one, and they allude to like something bigger, I guess, in the third game will happen involving him and the other asshole, the scientist. I can't remember his name. What the fuck's his name? Oh, whatever his name. God, what's his name? Use Sephiroth too briefly. I would assume that. I guess it happened in the original too in a flashback. Use him a little bit, not really much. Oh, what's his name? Chadley? Is it Chadley? And he's created a female version of himself too, and they bicker with each other. And that's how you do the simulation stuff. You want to boost up your shit and whatever, and then you can fight the Titans or whatever the hell they call them in Final Fantasy. In there to unlock them. Some you already have, and then if you beat the other ones in the simulation, you'll get them. Like I said, there's a ton to do. The game world's big. You're in different sections each time, and eventually you can go back to the other sections that you weren't in, but there's like the grasslands, kind of a desert, stuff like that, the jungle. It's just a fantastic game. It really is. And like I said, it looks great. The combat's fun. The story's solid for what it is. You can, as Cloud, date like any of the characters in the game. You can date. I'm pretty sure. I ended up just with Aerith. That's the way it's supposed to go, right? I think this is an added thing they did. Because there's different scenarios, right? You're talking to the character and stuff, and it seems like he's really into Tifa. It's probably the one he should be with. Tifa, because he's known her since they were kids. Kate's, I was missing a character. I feel like I was missing somebody, but I can't remember. Oh, I can't remember. But Barret, Aerith, Tifa, Cloud are the main four. Yeah, maybe it was 6. Then it was Yumi, Yuffie, and Kate Sith. I don't think there was anybody else. There's a lot of they added for this game, and this was because I asked my friend, because I had not played more than a couple of hours the original, and he loved the original, and I was like, the something blood, what is it called? That's a whole quest line. It's a super fun game to play. You get the cards, you're getting cards all throughout the world you're playing, but it's also a quest line as well where you're doing stuff. And he's like, no, that wasn't the original. I loved playing that game. That was fun. What was it called? Something blood, Queen's Blood. Super cool. I love that kind of shit. It's like Gwent in The Witcher and stuff. I'm like, I love those kind of games they threw in. That was super fun. Just a great world. This is another, and I forgot of it. No, I did mention this in the remakes, I think. Or maybe I forgot, which is weird. But this is a remake, too, that feels like an old school game while being fresh and new, and that's what you want out of your remakes. It gives me the nostalgia, even though I didn't even freaking play this game. I'm feeling it because you play Final Fantasy over the years. A lot of them are kind of similar, right? They change it up from time to time, but it was just so good. It was so good. Like, I just wanted to keep playing. Like, I'm like, yes, I just want to keep, and when more stuff open up, I'm like, yes, you're like, I'm finding a treasure. I'm like, I gotta find this treasure. I think the treasure kind of sucked. I forget what it was. Everything else, you're getting different gear and stuff like that. Typical role-playing things. The end boss fight too is cool. The way it is, you're like you have all your characters, but you're bouncing back and forth to each group from different areas, and you're fighting the bosses. These three, and then it goes to, it was really cool. There was some. I talked about the part with, was it Rufus Shinra? Oh, his fight was annoying in the remake, the first part, and it was woof. I was like, I'm like, I can't knock down the difficulty, and I spammed him with this one wind attack to build up because you got to build up your gauges to be able to use items and stuff, and magic. But I was like, I kept spamming with this, and then I finally actually kicked his ass. But man, he was giving me a beating for a bit, and I was getting furious. It got me pissed like an old school game would too, right? That anger nostalgia, but it's a fantastic game. It really is. Like, I can't wait for part 3 in whatever 5 years, whenever it ends up coming out. But all the characters are cool. It's fun. It has the goofiness to it as well. That Final Fantasy games tend to have. On top of being serious, they do get goofy. Also, a lot of good side characters too that you don't play as in there. Also, it's just a great game. It really is. This really, if you have a PlayStation 5, I don't think it's on Steam yet, is it? If you have a PlayStation 5, like, it's worth getting a PS5 just for this game. That's my opinion on it, because it's that good. And it's got, I think I put over 100 hours into it, because I was just trying to do everything I could. And there's still some stuff I need to do, because the mini games, when you do the protocol stuff, they're like mini games. There's one where you go into another game, a strategy type game. And they look like their characters in the original PlayStation ones, the original block, the little blocks, and they look all weird. They look a lot smoother and stuff, but it's in that art style. But that one I was able to beat. That one was the last one on that was a pain in the ass. I did that one. I did the one with the cactars. Is that what they're called? The cactars. And the dude, the little boxer guy, the goblin boxer guy. I think I did all those. That was one where you had to run around and smack the cactars, get points, you had to do it crazy and do it in a certain time limit. I think I did all of them except, I forget what one of the third one was. But there was another one that you had it was like the slimes or something were coming out, and you had to like go around and get them with your tower, and I just couldn't beat, and I was like, I can't keep playing this, I'm going to get pissed. But there's a lot of cool stuff in this game. It really is. Like I said, I can't remember everything, but I'd be able to go on for hours about it. But the crazy thing is, I'm not even like, I got Deathloop. I did the gameplay of that. I got to play some of the other ones I have, but it's like, man, there's not a ton. There's some stuff on the horizon I'm looking forward to, but man, there's not a lot out. I mean, there's games I could buy, but nothing like really. I'm like, I need to get it now. I do have to go back to Infinite Wealth though, because I was playing the shit out of that. Well, not playing the shit out, but I was getting into it in Islip, and then we came here, and I kind of put it off, and then I really haven't been playing as many games at the moment. But top 5. Maybe I'll ramble here for a few minutes. Syberia. I feel like I like Syberia more overall than Assassin's Creed Mirage, and I did like Mirage. Mirage would be number 6. Jedi Survivor would be number 7. And Dead Space would be number 8 for the games I've completed. I don't think I completed anything else there. Deathmark's really cool too, and I'm getting towards the end of that one. Deathmark 2. But yeah. I might do another survival horror, or just, I want to do this like a survival horror collection video, but I might just say horror game collection because so many Dead Space is not a survival horror game. To me, it's an action horror game. Even some Resident Evils are not. So Resident Evil became survival horror again. It turned into action horror with like Resident Evil. It was starting to go there with 4 or 5. In my opinion, 5 is just an action game with horror in it. 6 has both elements. 7 went back to being survival horror and legitimately creepy, at least to me. And then you have stuff like more like, it's called cinematic horror with the Dark Pictures games and Until Dawn and The Quarry. So I'm like looking at some of these games like, well, do I put The Last of Us in there? I don't know if I would put those in there. They are, it's a horror scenario, right? But I don't know if it qualifies for my own personal thing. Like Dead Space absolutely condemns stuff like that. Fatal Frame obviously, things Silent Hill, Resident Evil. Yeah, but I would put the Dark Pictures and stuff because those are specifically like horror games. But anyway, that's just a ramble. Well, it's not a ramble. It's my top 5. It's a request for my top 5 PS5 games and my favorite beer. I chose Yingling. I have a few favorite beers, but I don't think anything really stands out. Maybe it'd be Samuel Adams, but I got the Yingling, which I do like a lot. But yeah. That's just a request here today, and thanks for checking this out, and have a good day.